So, the movie basically was, as I said in my review, very recommendable to watch. I highly recommend it, if you will. Very good to watch, I should say. But with any movie that serves as sort of like a continuation from one series to another, even with a big major time jump, if you will, as well as it serves as an origin for that continuation because it's set in the same world, somewhat of the same continuity, if you will. So it could be, established as its own thing. A lot of questions are going to be arise from it, I should say. A lot of questions are going to arise from it. Now, I did a live stream yesterday where I gave my final thoughts on the movie and also asked some questions. And we did get some answers to those questions, I will say that. But again, like I said, with any movie, and I am doing this unscripted, I do apologize if I stumble on my words a little bit. I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say while I'm doing this. But anyway, like I said, with any movie that serves sort of like a continuation and an origin for the next step in the franchise, for the next, establishment in the franchise, a lot of questions will rise from it as well. Like some questions will be answered, but then some new questions will rise up in its place. And some of those questions really, are going to have a lot of fans wondering up until either the follow-up special or the series as to whether or not we're going to get answers to them. One in particular, obviously, is how did any of this dissension, between the pony races occur? Like how did any of that, come to be, if you know what I'm saying? We do get an idea in the film that is based on that the dissension between all the races was based on mistrust. Like something happened that caused a lot of distrust between the races and caused them to, end their peaceful coexistence together and, go their separate ways. And thus resulted in pretty much the magic because of that being taken away. But the question, that a lot of fans are going to have is, how did this happen? Because even though the one hint we get is, like I said, distrust, mistrust, something to that manner, we don't get a full-on answer as to how or when that all occurred. So hopefully in the follow-up special, or if not the series next year, we'll get an answer to that very question. Another question, obviously, is how did these crystals come about that represent all the pony races? How did the Earth ponies, the Pegasi ponies, and the Unicorn ponies, how did they get crystals that represent their races? How did that come into existence? Because the only crystal a lot of us knew about from Friendship is Magic is the Crystal Heart in the Crystal Empire. And that was it. So you have to wonder, did Flurry Heart, Twilight, and Cadence have something to do with the Crystal Heart maybe spawning these crystals that represent the pony races? You have to wonder that. Did they come up with a solution that, hey, to share the magic with the other races, that hey, every race should have a bit of magic within them, besides the magic they already have through friendship? Did they decide to, like I say, utilize the Crystal Heart to do that? Who knows? But hopefully we'll get an answer to how that came to be, because again, the only crystal item of anything in Friendship is Magic that we knew of in Gen 4 was the Crystal Heart. So the question again is, how did these crystal pieces that represented the pony tribes, come about? How did they come into existence? Did they come about because of the Crystal Heart? Did Flurry Heart, Twilight, and Cadence, have something to do with it? Who knows? So hopefully we'll get an answer to that in this follow-up special, if not the series. The other question I think a lot of people want to know about is what happened to Twilight. We all suspected that perhaps as time goes on we were going to lose, to the circle of life. We were going to lose the main, 5 of the main 6, main 7, if you will, main 8. We were going to lose them. We knew that. We knew that Rarity, Spike, Pinky, Fluttershy, Rainbow, and Apple, and Starlight, we all knew they were going to pass away. We knew that. We knew the circle of life was going to, take them on to the next evolution of their lives or their existence. But Twilight, like Celestia and Luna, is supposed to be an alicorn, and she's supposed to be immortal. So why wasn't she why wasn't she seen in the movie except for the beginning of the film, which basically served as a pretend situation, a little playthrough that Sunny did with her friends when they were fillies and colts. Besides that one moment, why didn't we see any acknowledgement of her in the film? Why didn't we get any answer as to why she wasn't around? What happened? And hopefully when the special comes out, if not the series next year, we'll get answers to that too. But that's the question. What happened to Twilight? She and her friends established this coexistence of friendship and peacefulness between not just all the pony races but all creatures in Equestria. So again, you have to wonder what exactly occurred. What happened to her? Where is she? Is she dead? Is she in the retirement homes, if you will, of what is it, what's the place called, Seaside Shores, where Celestia and Luna and maybe Cadence went? Is she there? What's going on? Or did she do something that kind of was the catalyst that began the distrust between the tribes by maybe giving her friends immortality themselves so they'd always be around? What happened? That's the question we have to find out. Like, what happened to Twilight? Why wasn't she around to maybe prevent any of this from happening, or at least to try to establish some kind of peace between the races and all that? Where is she? What's her status? We know that possibly that she passed down her mantle to Lustful Dawn, but what happened afterwards? Did she remain immortal, or as some people are theorizing, did she become mortal again, just like maybe Celestia and Luna and Cadence probably did? And when they passed down their status as rulers, and by going from immortal to mortal, did she pass away? Who knows? But hopefully we'll get an answer as to what happened there with Twilight. The other question that I think a lot of people hope to get an answer to is, besides the little references and moments that we got in the film here, will we get any more references to Friendship is Magic? Will we get any more references to Generation 4? That's what I would like to know. When the series comes about and even the special, will we get any more acknowledgments and references, if you will? Now, according to some sources, it basically Tara Strong coming back to voice Twilight along with the rest of the established main 6 cast, doesn't rule out the fact that we're not going to see them again, because there's a possibility we will. Like they might return, but when and where will they return is its own question. But getting back to what I was just saying, will we get any more references? Like, will we get maybe an appearance by Rarity's Boutique in the future? Will we get maybe some kind of training facility in the Wonderbolt Academy named after Rainbow Dash? Will we get any kind of, like I say, acknowledgement or reference more so than we did in the movie in the upcoming special and series? Because one of the things I would like to see, honestly, is if this question gets answered, is the way it gets answered is that maybe they show up in basically an abandoned, maybe one of the episodes, maybe the special, you have Sunny and her friends journey to this abandoned village, and we find out that the abandoned village is actually Ponyville, and that Ponyville is now in a state of ruin because magic was lost and it became abandoned. And then maybe we see the statue of basically the villains from the finale of the series, and maybe we see the statue down the line of the main six. Who knows? But but again, the question I have is, will we see any more references and acknowledgments? Hopefully we will, but we shall see. We shall see. And one other question I would hopefully get an answer to, after this. One other question I think we'd want to get an answer to is, are any of the main five now, as I noted are the main five connected in relation to the main six? But they don't know that. But they don't know that yet, and perhaps they'll discover that in the series, when that comes on next year. Are the main five related to, from a descendant kind of perspective, ancestral descendant kind of perspective, are they related to the main group, to the main six? Like, is Zip and Pip and Haven, are they, related, from an ancestral descendant, very distant ancestral descendant kind of manner to Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy? Is Hitch connected to Fluttershy because he can communicate with animals like she did? Is Sunny and Argyle, were they descendants, even though they were Earth ponies? Are they descendants of Twilight? For example, let's say Pip. Pip, is she a descendant of, let's say, Rarity, and maybe, some of Rarity and a Pegasus that she got together with? Who knows? But and that's interesting too. Pip is the only one that we know of that has I would say cloud-like wings that I can see. She has cloud-like wings. And I know that's part of her stage scenario, but, it seems like it's an actual part of her. So you have to wonder if she is a descendant of Rarity and maybe even Spike. Because, she could, be born a pony, but not a unicorn. But she can be born a pony with, with her wings being different than an average Pegasus. And maybe this is a trait that got passed on to her family throughout every other generation, and maybe she just happened to be the fortunate one to gain it, and it's all because of, let's say, Rarity and Spike being together. But we'll see. We'll have to find out. But again, this is a major question I think a lot of people want to have answered. Are the main five in some shape, form, or fashion connected, descendant, and very distant ancestry-wise to the main six? That's one big question that we would like to get answered. And one other question, I thought that was going to be the last one, but one other question I would like to get answered, and I think a lot of us would, especially with the way things are, and especially with the fact that Hitch in the film, in the early portion of the film, pretty much confirmed what a lot of our suspicions were, that so much time has passed that the stories of Twilight and her friends have become nothing but myths and legends, basically stories told to fillies and colts by their parents to put them to sleep. You got to wonder that if Twilight and her friends' adventures, have basically gone to become, that status of storytelling, or that status of myth and legend, to the point that it isn't until the end of the film that everybody starts realizing, oh, maybe there is truth to those stories after all. You have to wonder exactly how far in the future, the show is between, itself, Generation 5, I should say, the show movie it is, Generation 5 is between itself and Friendship is Magic Gen 4. So hopefully we'll get an answer to that in the special as well as in the series. But anyway, though, guys, those are just some of the questions I hope will get answered. I'm sure a lot of us will hope get answered. That the movie pretty much left open for us to ask, because even though they gave us some clues and some answers here and there, they didn't give us like a full extent. And I think they're leaving that open-ended for the special that follows, and and the series as well. But let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? Do you think we'll get answers to those questions in the upcoming special or series? And what other questions do you think the movie left open-ended for you to want to see get answered in the special, if not the series? Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, check me out at Teespring, if you will, Teespring store where my merchandise is. Also check me out on the BW Roses podcast at all your favorite audio podcast locations, except for Pandora. Also check me out on Vimeo at BW Roses, as well as on Patreon at BW Roses as well. So until next time though, guys, take care, God bless, and I will talk to y'all later.